Hello, and welcome to Brit Reviews at All. And today I'm going to be talking about Chucky. So apparently, that the last episode, that one was actually supposedly the season finale. Because I was a little bit confused. I wasn't expecting another episode, but we did get one, and this one was based around the Christmas holiday. I thought they did a really good job with it. We got to see Chucky dressed up, with his little Christmas sweater, a lot of singing from him, which is always hilarious. I mean, it was just a really fun episode to watch, minus the killings, of course. But hey, we know that's what comes with the territory when we are watching anything related to Chucky. Okay, so they start off, and we get to rewatch the scene from with Chucky dying. And like I said in my previous video, at the end, when Dr. Mixter, who ran off again, no one seemed to really be concerned about running after Dr. Mixter and trying to capture her. And I thought that was a bit weird. But we heard that weird laugh. The Chucky laugh. We heard the Chucky laugh. And that made me think, oh my goodness, did they actually kill Chucky, or was it actually Dr. Mixter? And that is exactly what happened. So at the time that the sister, whatever her name is, I don't forgot now, but whatever the case, when she brought Lexi in there to trade off so that they can allow Dr. Mixter and Chucky to leave while they were in there dealing with that whole thing, they Chucky actually punched Dr. Mixter in the face and then knocked her down to the ground and knocked her out for a sec. And he had enough time to actually swap their bodies. So by the time Dr. Mixter wakes up, she's in the Chucky doll body. She's in the good guy doll body. And then Chucky is now inside of Dr. Mixter's body. So he grabs Chucky, the Chucky doll, takes off running. And when Andy comes, shoots, he's actually, yes, he's shooting the Chucky doll, but it was not actually Chucky. It was Dr. Mixter in the doll's body. So that is who actually died. And I was correct. Chucky put himself into Dr. Mixter's body. All right. So there's that. Then Chucky goes back to Dr. Mixter's place and puts a coat, goes behind a portrait, has a whole code going on, opens it, and then we have another Chucky doll that was hidden behind the portrait. I was like, oh goodness. So we did not get the end. Chucky always finds a way to wiggle himself out of a scenario to stay alive, right? Should have known that. So so this happens. And then I was also kind of like, dang, Chucky, like we got to see the relationship that he had with Dr. Mixter from when he was a child and in her younger years, and then all the way up into where we saw Dr. Mixter and Chucky actually planning the whole thing from the beginning. Okay, so he, like, the whole time his intent was, like, she told him to traumatize those kids that she had seen, that were seeking some kind of uh, a psychiatrist or whatever. So she used her own patients to allow him to pick out which ones he wanted to basically traumatize the most to get them to kill someone. And we all know in the first season who he was able to manipulate to make that happen. It was supposed to be Jake, but it didn't work out that way in his in what he wanted him to do. So, with all that said, like I said, he killed, ended up being the reason of why Dr. Mixer actually ended up dying. Um, so then they fast forward to more now, okay, that all happened, and now they're moving on. It's the holidays, everything is themed Christmas, it's all Christmas. Okay, now we have Lexi. So, flipping to her, she was able to you know, get some help. She went to rehab. She's, going through her process for recovery and everything. Her and Jake, they have their bond has gotten better. Her and Devin's relationship has gotten even more closer, with everything that's happened with them over that whole time frame. So her and Jake actually went to her house for Christmas because at this point, um, the boys, they have nowhere to go at all for the holidays, you know. So it is that's pretty much what it is with that. Now, she didn't even tell her mom that either one of them were going to be joining the family for the holidays, and she knew that that was going to get under her mom's skin. But knowing her mom, if she would have asked them, she probably would have told her no, that they couldn't come. But she snuck that right on in, so we're gonna know that it's gonna be some discomfort there on the mom's part. But of course, she was just like, "Oh, come on, come on," and it is what it is. So that's happening. So that means that all of them is going to be in one place on Christmas. Not good. But okay, so we have that. Now, while they are, just saying their hellos, catching up and whatnot, you hear on the news that the body of Dr. Mixter was found. And so that lets us know that that means that Chucky has put himself back into the Chucky doll. He set up a scene to basically make it look like she died. Dr. Mixter died of natural causes, if I recall. And I was just like, okay, well, right. I mean, he wasn't with the plan that he has. Him being in Dr. Mixter's body for that extended period of time really wasn't going to do him any good to do what he wants to do. Right. Okay, so we have that going on. Now, going over to Glenn, Glenda, and Tiffany. Glenn is still in the hospital, getting the nurse from the news. They are not doing well. They're not going to make it. Their days are numbered. So Glenda tells their mom, hey, you know what you're going to have to do, right? And Tiffany is like, yes, I know. Glenda is like, you need to figure out a way. Use Jennifer Tilly, acting skills, do what you got to do. But you need to get here so you can we're going to bring in the Cedar Chucky doll. You're going to bring the doll in and you're going to do what you got to do. Because we cannot lose Glenn. It just can't happen, right? So, we're waiting for that to happen now. Jumping back over to Chucky, we get the update on him. He's hanging out. He's Christmas shopping and whatnot for himself. He has a whole credit card with his name on it. How in the world was he able to do that? We'll never know. But Chucky found the world's quietest chainsaw, is what he said, is what he was excited about. All right. But anyway, now we get the scene where Lexi's mom, she's the mayor. She's posting for her followers and showing the nativity scene that she set up outside of her house for the holidays. She was unable to find the baby doll for Jesus. So in place of that, she used the Belle doll. And I was like, oh man. Okay. So that means we do have a Belle doll, which I knew was still out there. I didn't know if Caroline still had it, but obviously she does. So I was like, okay, what's going to happen with this is someone is going to see that doll and it's going to be a problem. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. Now, jumping back over to Glenn, Glenda, Tiffany. Tiffany snuck in. Glenda actually helped to get the security guard away from the door in order to get into the room to allow Tiffany to come in there and do the spell. Which, of course, there's a police officer sitting outside that door, the guard, because they are waiting, because they are trying to capture Jennifer Tilly, aka Tiffany Valentine. Now, they actually get in the room. Like, not too long after they actually got in the room, the security guard comes back in there with a fresh cup of coffee and catches Tiffany, Jennifer, in the room. And I was like, well, this is not going to go good because we know this is coming down to her, to the kids. Tiffany is going to do what she got to do. So it was either going to be him or her, and we know how that's going to go. So Tiffany was able to, of course, take the first thing that she could get into her hand, which was a vase, clocked him upside the head and knocked him out. And so then here comes Glenda, who actually is more prone to, but they have killed people before. And so it would be nothing more for her to them to kill one more person. So, with that being said, Glenda sees the thing to I forget what it's called, but Glenda turns it on, says, "Mom, what do you think?" Tiffany is like, a red, green light, hit thumbs up. Come on, let's do it. And literally electrocutes the guard. Glenda did. Glenda did it. And it sets him on fire because he was wet from the vase. It had water in it with the flowers. So it was wet. He was wet. The guy was covered in water. So they electrocuted him. Now, Glenda did not care. Again, they're doing what they got to do to stay alive at this point. And then Glenda's like, "Oh, Merry Christmas, Mom," or says something of that nature. Basically, like, this is your gift because we know you have a thing. You do like to kill. You do have some thought about yourself, but you have some problems. But it is what it is. So they proceed to do what they got to do. Next thing we know, we get the scene where Tiffany is leaving the hospital room with a suitcase that Glenda brought in. And then the nurse comes back to come and check the room. The nurse opens the door, finds the security guard's body on the floor, burnt up to a crisp, and then you see Glenn and Glenda lying in the bed, blue in the face. So that lets us know that we're gonna get to see the Chucky doll alive and talking and back in action. So it happened. It worked. Now, while they're back at home, Tiffany brings them home, gets them all set up. In the process of, beautifying Glenn and Glenda, she catches the video that the mayor posted, and it showed the Belle doll. So, like I said, someone was going to be looking for that doll, aka Tiffany Valentine. She needs that Belle doll. All right. Now, she does Glenn and Glenda's makeup, makes them look beautiful, and they pretty much just like, okay, well, like, what are we gonna call you? Like, do I call you Glenn? Do I call you Glenda? And I said, well, no, call me Gigi. So now we have an official name for the Seed of Chucky doll. The name is Gigi, which I thought was pretty cute to basically stand for Glenn and Glenda. So that's awesome. Tiffany's excited, like, oh, I have my babies. My baby, we're going to go do this. We can go do that. And Gigi's like, no, I think I actually want to travel. I want to go back to my roots. I want to go to Europe. I want to start there. I was like, okay, well, so now we are getting the exit for Gigi, but it leaves it open so that there's a possibility that Gigi is going to come back into the season, which I feel confident that we will get a season 3 out of the Chucky series, because me personally, I think they are doing a phenomenal job with the series. All right. So there's that. Now, going back over to Jake, Devin, Lexi, all of them. Jake and Devin, they are pretty much they're just having the hardest time with their relationship. One wants a certain thing, the other is like, I don't know what Jake's problem is, but it's like he's not listening to Devin like at all. So those two, they're at it again. Now this whole time they're having Christmas dinner. This is Christmas Eve now. They're having Christmas dinner. Them two, they're kind of having their little moment. And Lexi's mom is like, for real, okay, like, can we not do this? But they have a little moment where Lexi is like opening up and sharing with her mom, everything. I thought that the dinner was about to go down the drain, but they revived it, actually to snap back, and it got better in the end. So the night started off well. I'll say that. Because we all know, just when you think everything is good and they're having a good time and everything's fine, in comes Chucky. And that's exactly what happened. So, everybody has had a good night. Everybody's in their rooms, in their beds. Jake, Lexi, and Devin, they're all in the same room. They said their good nights. Next thing you know, here comes Chucky coming down the dang chimney with a hat on, a Santa hat, and a chainsaw. I was like, okay, well, Chucky is grand. He's going to do the most with everything because that's just what it is. So there's that. He's eating the cookies. I don't know if he drank the milk, but he ate the cookies. He read the note. He's scrunching it up like a whole Grinch. Okay, evil Grinch. Okay, so I was like, all right, well, we see where this is going. Now we did, and I thought it was pretty cool that they did that. We got Chucky's version of The Night Before Christmas. I like it. Very creative. Okay. Crazy thing is, the same time that Chucky is like sneaking into their house, Tiffany is sneaking into the house. She's there, as we know, looking for the Belle doll. She thought it was in the nativity scene that was outside. Of course not. That is Caroline's doll. So no, it was not going to be left outside like that. So I'm thinking, oh, she's going to cut her losses and try again to wiggle her way into getting that doll. No, homegirl literally snuck into these people's house, and I'm like, okay, y'all are literally like, it just was whatever. She snuck into their house. Now, mind you, with that being said, if Tiffany is coming in through a back door, a sliding door, I believe that's how she got in from the around the side of the house, I'm wondering at this point, one, with everything that has been going on in that town, why are y'all not locking y'all doors? Two, why do you not have an alarm system? Because if that door opened, whether you had it locked or not, an alarm should have went off. Just saying. Or at least have the what is it, the silent alarm or something, so at least the police would have been on the way to your house, or they would have called and said, hey, a back door just opened, was that you? Anything. No, but that's okay. That's what I pinpointed that, but it is what it is. Now the both of them are sneaking through the house, and at the time I'm watching, I'm like, okay, did Chucky notice that, hear Tiffany coming in? Because it's quiet. They're downstairs, right? So I'm wondering, did he hear her? And the answer is yes. So as she's walking around creeping through the house, he's creeping right on behind her, just as quiet. By the time they're even about to see each other, or she's about to notice that he's following her, here comes Lexi's mom, the mayor, Feline, coming down the stairs. Who's in here? Or whatever. And then she catches Tiffany in her house. Now, the fact that she said, oh, you're like wanted for murder, like the lady is saying this, but the fact that it's Jennifer Tilly, it takes away from her whole under trying to figure out, ma'am, you literally snuck in my house in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve. Something is very off about that. No phone call, no email, text, something. You're basically breaking into my house. And Tiffany was able to use the whole Jennifer Tilly thing to kind of we talk her way out of that, and to basically let her know that she was there to ask if she could have the Belle doll. Came up with a whole lie and everything. As she's in the middle of talking to the mayor, Lexi's mom, about this doll, Chucky is coming from the back of where the mayor is, as she's pulling up her camera, her phone, because she wants to let her followers know that Jennifer Tilly has made an appearance at her house. Chucky is coming with the chainsaw. I didn't think he was gonna actually go through with it, and Tiffany's standing there in awe, like, oh my god, like I'm stuck, like what do I do? Chucky jumps up in the air with the chainsaw, splits her straight down the middle. And I'm like, okay, so with that being said, even though the chainsaw is supposed to be the quietest chainsaw in the world, did nobody else in the house hear the scream? I mean, it couldn't have been that quiet of a chainsaw because we could still hear the sound. So I was expecting like a quiet buzzing noise, but I guess it is. But anyway, there was blood, guts, and stuff all over the place. Chucky's drenched in blood. He's confronting Tiffany about everything, and he's saying he's gonna kill the kids, and that the bad need to be punished. The kids who disobey me, they need to be punished. When he's saying this, he's actually also talking about Glenn and Glenda, and he's like basically questioning her, like, where are they? I'm going to punish them. So that's something else to keep in mind, that Chucky is going to be on. He said that he's going to find them, which we know he will at some point. So we can look for that in the future. I expect to see some kind of something come out of that. Okay. Now, as the both of them are talking, here comes Lexi flying down the stairs, hopping on top of Chucky, and she was able to pin him down to the ground with her foot, with her foot on his crotch area, and get the chainsaw. We would think that Tiffany would actually want to help him. No. Tiffany is there for herself. She, at this point, is like, no. Because, first of all, she was trying to say, really, Chucky, like, look at what they're going to have to wake up to. Their kids. This is how you want them to wake up on Christmas Day. Like, this is, like, to some point, she have her softer side was coming out. But Chucky's like pleading with Tiffany, like, are you gonna help me? And this and this and that. And Tiffany is like, no. She runs off because she's there to get the Belle doll. And Lexi rips him a new one, and I mean slices and dices with that chainsaw all up and through that Chucky doll. So he's kaput out of there. Now, Tiffany's beelining down to find Caroline's room. She goes in, she sees the doll, picks up the Belle doll. As she's doing that, not Devin, but Jake jumps from under the cover and stabs Tiffany with the knife. And coming from the back, here comes Devin with another knife and stabs her again. So she takes off. She's going down the hallway. The both of them come out. They knives up, ready to get her. And here comes Lexi, drenched in blood. She's ready to like get her as well. So Jake, being the nice one, as always, he's like, no. Hurry up, put the knife, don't do anything else. Call the police before she bleeds out. And Devin is like, you're lucky he's the nice one. He's so nice. As they're getting ready to do this, here comes Caroline out of nowhere, because the whole time I was wondering, well, where the heck is Caroline? She comes from standing right by where Tiffany is. And she's like looking really weird. And she's just like, I'm like, oh my goodness. Because see, Chucky already made a reference to mention Caroline and saying that he would actually not kill her because she looks like she's going to have potential. And I'm like, oh man, this is not good. So she comes. Here comes Caroline with the knife, probably the same knife that Lexi gave her a while back. Hands it to Tiffany and says, here, hold this. So she takes the Belle doll. She's holding it. And I mean, at this point, she has basically let us know that Chucky said he knew, something like that was going to happen. She knew that he told her that her real mom was going to come for her one day, and that she wasn't really related to Lexi, and that the mayor wasn't her real mom. I mean, Chucky really, really got into that girl's head, like for real. I was like, oh Lord, this is so not good. So she was able to have Tiffany to basically take her, kidnap her, and that's how Tiffany got away. So, of course, the police, they had to come to the scene because the mayor is dead now. And Lexi's like, dude, like, I'm an orphan, because that was the last parent. So, I was like, wow. So, we continue. Just when you think it's over, it's not over. So, I was like, all right. They tell the police their story. They give them Jennifer Tilly as the person about kidnapping Caroline. And so now the police is like, okay, well, your closest kin, and they're like, well, we have to get on this to get Caroline, like, as soon as possible. We cannot wait on this. In comes Lexi's aunt. They were actually able to bring her in and say, look, we need your help. And they tell her the real deal. And she's, for what it seemed like, she's believing them. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. Weeks later, we get the scene where there's Tiffany and Caroline. They are actually in New York. It looks like a hotel room or an apartment, something of that nature. She's still in Jennifer Tilly's body. And Tiffany gets a call, unknown number, and I was thinking that it was going to be like Lexi or somebody, because obviously they're looking for Caroline. but it actually was Anika. I completely forgot about Anika. Like, I really did. And so we know now that Anika has made it her mission to track down Tiffany and kill her. She did tell her that she speaks to Glenn and Glenda every week. She speaks to Gigi every week. But yeah, she's like, basically saying, I didn't mean for that to happen, for me to, she obviously knows she was aiming for Tiffany. But she's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you. And Anika is actually so like far deep into tracking down Tiffany to the point where she had already done tracked her down. She already knew where she was staying. She was looking through some binoculars and could see her in the window, and she knew exactly where she was. So that freaked Tiffany out, and she immediately went over to go ahead and do the spell on the Bell doll to transfer, right? And I was like, okay, so I mean, you do the transfer to the Bell doll, but what does that mean? Like, where do y'all go from there? Like, what's the next step? Okay, so there's that. But now Tiffany did the spell. Caroline was sitting over there and she had this look on her face like something was a little bit off with that. And I'm like, oh Lord, like what now? Tiffany does the spell. She's hitting on the doll, awake, 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 like saying all that, and then nothing was happening. Then all of a sudden, the doll pops up, takes its finger to go like this to the eyeball, and removes the, I think it was blue, remove the, it was contacts, and we get a different eye color. And then Tiffany starts freaking out, and I said, OMG. The dog goes like this and reveals Chucky's face, goes like this, revealing red hair with this whole Belle wedding dress on. And I'm like, oh my freaking gosh. How? How so? So is it possible Chucky had, like said, he finds ways to make sure that he always has another way out. Just when you think he's dead, he's really, really not. So I don't know. Caroline, he must have had Caroline do a switch, do something, something. I don't know, but whatever the case is, it wasn't Belle. It wasn't the Belle doll. But I'm like, well, okay, so where is the Belle doll? If that wasn't actually the Belle doll, and it was really Chucky dressed as Belle doll, where is that Belle doll? So many questions. But in the end, Chucky pops up, has a knife in hand, with his dress on, going after Tiffany, but then it cuts. And I'm like, okay, so we left it open again because now we don't know if he actually did kill her or is he going to threaten her into doing something, doing his bidding. Like, what is going to happen with this? So we will have to see. We know that they left it open, so we can expect to see what's going to develop with Caroline. We have to see Lexi, Jake, and Davin and the aunt, what they're gonna do to, like, what's gonna happen with this. Overall, season excellent, episode beautiful, very funny. Love that they added in Christmas on this for the holidays, and I just really enjoyed this entire season. But let me know what y'all thought. I enjoyed. Again, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell button, and you'll be notified when I post more videos. Thank you again for watching, and y'all have a good day. Bye, y'all.